Everyone thinks they understand Monkey D. Luffy. At first glance, it makes sense. He's loud, reckless, always smiling, always charging forward without a plan. To most people, that makes him feel simple, like a lucky idiot who keeps surviving because the story lets him. But here's the problem with that interpretation. If Luffy were actually simple, the world of One Piece would have swallowed him whole a long time ago. So the real question isn't why Luffy keeps winning, it's why the world keeps failing to control him. Luffy doesn't act like a traditional hero. He doesn't explain his plans, justify his decisions, or try to convince people he's right. Most of the time, he barely explains anything at all. At a glance, that looks like stupidity, but it isn't. Luffy understands something most characters don't. Rules only have power if you agree to play by them, and Luffy doesn't. In most stories, power comes from hierarchy. Someone rises to the top, commands, and everyone else falls in line. That structure exists everywhere in One Piece. Pirates, marines, kingdoms, even revolutionary groups. But Luffy rejects it completely. He doesn't lead by standing above people, he leads by standing beside them. He never orders his crew to follow him. He never claims authority over their lives. And because of that, something strange happens. People don't follow Luffy because they're forced to. They follow him because being around him feels free. What really makes Luffy dangerous isn't his strength. It's how he judges people. He doesn't care about titles, bounties, or reputations. He doesn't care what the world says you are. Instead, he waits. He watches what happens when pressure hits, when fear shows up, when pretending stops being possible. That's how Luffy decides who belongs beside him. Not through words, through actions. That's why his crew feels real. Zoro earns Luffy's trust, not because he's strong, but because he chooses honor, even when it costs him everything. Luffy doesn't need a speech to understand that. The decision tells him everything. And Nami's story makes this even clearer. She lies, steals, and manipulates everyone around her. On the surface, she looks like a traitor. Almost everyone believes that's who she is, except Luffy. He doesn't argue with her words. He doesn't force the truth out of her. He waits. And when the pain she's been carrying finally breaks through, Luffy doesn't analyze it. He acts. No speeches, no conditions, just presence. For a long time, Luffy's role is simple. Push forward, protect the crew, win. Problems get punched, enemies fall, and the journey continues. Then Water 7 happens, and for the first time, Luffy faces something he can't punch his way through. Loss. The fight with Usopp isn't really about a ship. It's about fear. Fear of being weak. Fear of being left behind. Fear of no longer mattering. And for the first time, Luffy doesn't have a clean answer. To stay captain, he has to do the thing he hates most. Stand firm, not against an enemy, but against someone he loves. That moment isn't heroic. It's uncomfortable. It's painful. And that's exactly why it matters. Because leadership isn't about always being kind. Sometimes it's about carrying decisions that hurt everyone, including yourself. When everything nearly falls apart, it isn't Luffy who restores balance. It's Zoro. Not through strength, but through boundaries. Zoro understands something Luffy struggles with. A captain who bends too much loses the crew. And Luffy listens. Then Sabaody happens. One by one, his crew disappears. And for the first time, the world doesn't bend for Luffy. He can't fight back, can't save anyone, can't laugh it off. Without his crew, Luffy isn't a hero. He's empty. Amazon Lily doesn't give him a quick recovery. There's no speech, no instant bounce back, just absence. Every quiet moment reminds him who's missing. Every mistake shows him how much of himself exists because of others. Luffy doesn't shine alone. He never has. This is where people misunderstand him most. They see recklessness and think stupidity. But Luffy's belief is actually very clear. He rejects control, he rejects hierarchy, he rejects standing above others. When offered power, he refuses it. When given authority, he steps away. He doesn't want followers, he wants equals. That's why becoming Pirate King was never about ruling the seas. To Luffy, it simply means being free. Free to choose his path. Free to protect the people beside him. Free without standing above anyone else. Wherever Luffy goes, systems collapse. Not because he plans revolutions, but because control can't survive around him. He doesn't conquer nations. He breaks chains. He doesn't rule people. He reminds them they can choose. He doesn't conquer nations. He breaks chains. He doesn't rule people. He reminds them they can choose. Luffy isn't the smartest character. He isn't the most strategic. He isn't always right. But he might be the most honest. And in a world built on fear, control, and power, that honesty is dangerous. If this video changed the way you see Luffy, leave a like. It really helps the channel. If you enjoy anime breakdowns that focus on meaning beneath the action, subscribe to AnimeSubtext and let me know in the comments. What moment made you realize Luffy wasn't just a joke character?